Okay, this is a quick review of the rendering process inside of Arnold and Maya. We'll start out with the lighting and setting up our lights, and then we'll go on to the render settings and how we can render out our final images. I've introduced a surface plane to shoot my model against, and I'm going to introduce a spotlight. I'll hold down the spacebar, I'll go to Create, Lights, Spotlight. I'll hit 4 on the keyboard so I can see it, and I'll drag it up so I can see it outside of the context of my model. Next, I'm going to direct it towards the model. I'll go to the attributes in the channel window, and I'll rotate it either minus 90 in my Z or X axes. With my move tool, I'll put it a little bit above the actual model. And I'm going to T on the keyboard, and that will give me two icons for the light. One, which is our vertices radiating from a blue box, is the target, and then the cone shape is the source. So I'm just roughly setting this up now so that the light is distributed across my model. Now I want to kind of snap this a little closer to the edge of the model and direct it where I'd like it to be. So I'm going to hold down V on the keyboard, and you'll notice that the vertices radiating from the blue box, when you hold down V, it turns to a blue circle, and I can click on my left mouse and now snap that to an object that might get me where I would like to be. In this case, the bottom corner of the box, and that'll get us started. I'm going to move it up a little higher, and I'm going to hit 6 on my keyboard. And now I'm going to go to the attributes for the light, so I'll hit Control 8, or I'll click on my attribute tab on the right-hand side of the interface. And I'm going to make the intensity of the light 3000. Yes, that's 3000. We're accustomed to much lower renderings when we're using ray trace, but Arnold is different. So I'm starting out with the intensity of 3000. I'm going to max out the penumbra angle in the slider to 10. And I guess while I'm at it, I'll just bump the cone up to about 70. And now I'm going to slide down in the attributes to the Arnold tab. And when I open the Arnold tab, the first thing I'll want to do is adjust the exposure. Now I'm going to set it to 3 to get started. And now I'm going to bring up the Arnold render window to see how this is panning out. So at the top of the user interface, I'll go to the word Arnold, and I'll click on the interface. Now immediately you'll see a black screen, but what we need to do is activate the IPR, and that's done by clicking on that red triangle. And now you can see it's reflecting what's going on inside of my model. Now before I get started on this, I'm going to set up the render settings as well. So I'll close out Arnold for a moment. And now I'm going to go to the render settings. Now in the render settings under the Common tab, we can set the proportions of our file the way we want to, just as we did with ray trace. But the next thing I want to do is click on the Arnold render, and I'm going to bump all these attributes, camera AA through volume and direct, to 4. That'll give me the render quality that I desire for this project. I'm going to close it out, and I'll manipulate my window. I'll go back to the Arnold render view. I'll click on the red triangle. And at this point, if I wanted to, I could go in and start to adjust my lights. I can change the exposure as well as the intensity to get the quality I want. I'm going to go down a little bit further into the Arnold lighting again. And if I bump up the radius, I can soften the shadows as well. Now, it's going to take a while to render these out. Once you've let your image render out, it's simply a matter of going to File, Save Image, and name it and direct it to your folder in your project.